Hi, welcome to clickmyproject.com. The title of our project is Dynamic Authentication for Cross-Realm SOA-Based Business Processes in the Domain Web Services.
Let's see the overview of our project. In a collaborating service in a system with a service-oriented architecture may belong to different security realm, but often need to be engaged dynamically at runtime. If the security realm do not have a direct cross-realm authentication relationship, it is technically difficult to enable any secure collaboration between the service. A potential solution to this would be to locate immediate realm at runtime. Path of two distributed services can be highly complicated. It could involve a large number of extra operations of credential conversion and require long chain invocation to intermediate service. Here, we address the problem of designing and implementing a new cross-realm authentication protocol for dynamic service interaction. The correctness of this protocol is formally analyzed and proved. In our existing model, we have one federated and credential authentication. The federated authentication is nothing but the direct authentication. That is, here the user will interact with the customer and purchase the product, and no authentication will be sent to an user and no security will be provided in our existing. And the next we faced our credential authentication. In our credential authentication, the user purchased the order and authentication will be sent to the mail or through SMS that the particular product has been purchased by the customer. This is what we faced in our existing system, but no authentication or security is maintained in our existing. In our proposed model, we have a three-party and multi-party session. In our three-party session, we included with the customer, producer and transmitter. In our multi-party session, we included as the customer, producer, transmitter and session authority. The session authority is the one who monitor all the data and gives the information about the proper transmission. In a three-party business session, but considered of two-party session, the business session consists of three participating services, that is consumer, producer and transmitter. At the start of the business session, in an instance of customer, the customer contacts the producer to order some product. After receiving the request from the customer, producer creates a service instance to product to handle it. The producer then transmitter to deliver a producer to consumer. An instance of the shipper is generated to do this job and is requested to navigate the customer about deliver option and details. And all these processes will be monitored by the session authority. The session authority is the one who gives the ID and monitors the process. The session authority will produce the ID for each instance of the users at each time, and with the producers with the key for the generated and our process with the help of RSA algorithm. Let's see the data flow diagram of our project. This is our data flow diagram. Here we have an user produces with number of services, that is with the service 1 to n. Here the user with the service, that is we have multiple number of customers over here, and the customer and all these everything will be monitored by the session authority. The customer first invoke to the session authority, that is he is going to product. The producer will give an ID for the particular customer. Then the customer instance will be sent to an producer. The producer view the content and get the information from the session authority. The information is viewed by the producer, and again the producer, the information will be encrypted and it's sent to one shipper. The shipper get request to one session authority. The session authority verifies the process and gives ID to one shipper, and at last the key will get generated by the session authority, and the product will be transmitted to the customer. This is about our data flow diagram. Let's see the demo of our project. This is our home page. We are done. Now the user is requested to register the particular process. That is, the user have to enter all so and so database. The user have to enter the username. then password, retype their password, then they have to give their required mail ID, then the user address, and then if it's a customer they have to choose if it's a producer they have to choose the producer as, then register user enter is successful. Here now the user is going to log in now process, that is here we have the two types in our existing, that is federated authentication and credential authentication. First we see the process. The user is then log in here with any name, valid login was successful, that is we got here as valid username and password. Now the page has been reloaded to the our existing page, that is here we have direct authentication and credential authentication. When you click on this direct authentication, here there will not be provided any acknowledgement to an user. Here I am choosing any one of the product. If I am going to order this product, I just clicked on this, and when I click on this we just got an intimation that is you have purchased this order number 45. This is about in our federated authentication. But when we go back to our credential authentication, this is a credential authentication. Here we have an acknowledgement from the user, that is here I am going to purchase this particular lap. When I click on this purchase button, we have an intimation that is you have purchased this so product, and after that the mail will be sent to one particular person. When I click on the send mail, now the mail has been transmitted to the particular user, that is you have purchased the particular product.
Now I am going to enter into my multi-party session. Here I have customer, producer and transmitter. Now I am going to enter into the customer login. I am giving my login ID as user ID as customer, and the same as for password customer. I am just entering my user type as customer. I'm just logging into my process. Here I got an intimation as valid username and password. Now I am entering into the customer process of work. Here I am choosing my choose as a car, and the session has provided the producer ID as 80 for this particular car. Now I have choose any one of my product name, and I am giving my product quantity as number 3. And when I click on this calculate button, then that is the total price of this quantity 3 will be get calculated here, and I got an amount here. Now I'm getting an ID from an session. The session is providing an ID for this particular customer, and that is at 22. Now I'm going to get the key from an session. When I get the key from an session, here I got a key from one session, that is my whole product is get encrypted. This encrypted product will be going to transmit to one producer. When I click on this data button, I got an intimation that is the product has been transmitted to one producer. Now I am going to log in with the producer ID, producer with the name car, and the producer with the name car will be B. And when I click on this user type as producer, and I'm going to log in, I got an intimation that is the valid username and password. Now I'm entering into this application. Here I'm choosing my application product type. Here I have chosen as car, and when I here if I choose some other thing, if I choose as bag, and when I click on this check button, the process will be get invalid, so that I cannot access my account. So I'm choosing my own product as car, and when I click on the check button, here I got an intimation that is valid process. So here I am going to choose my customer name. The customer name will be a customer, and I am giving the producer ID. The producer ID will be generated by the session authority. For this particular producer, here the ID is generated as 80. So now I am getting an get your info. When I click on this get your info, the process will get valid. That is, the validation must be checked with these 4 types. Now I gotten only the encrypted message for this particular customer data. So to get I have to get the key from the session to decrypt my data. So here I got a key, so my process has been decrypted. The decrypted message will be get displayed over here. Now I am going to enter the producer content. Here the producer content I am giving as your product car will be transmitted shortly. So I am going to transmit this this information to the transmitter to deliver this particular information. So I am choosing my transmitter as either 1. So I am getting here the transmitter ID will be generated as 164.
So I'm going to validate this particular product. Here I have validated. So now I'm getting the key from the session. So my product is get encrypted. This encrypted product I'm going to transmit to the transmitter. So I have an intimation as that is the item has been transmitted. So now I'm getting back to my transmitter. Here I'm going to log in with the transmitter ID. That is I'm transmitter with a name. I'm giving my user type as transmitter and I'm logging into the application. That is I got an intimation that is valid username and password. Here I am choosing my own custom choosing my request. Here I am choosing the request as API and I have to enter my transmitter ID here from the which is given by the session, and now I'm getting the information from the session. If it's valid, the information will be get displayed. Here the information you are not be valid to be encrypted here. Here the transmitter ID will be 164. When I click on this, get access will get permitted here. So the the encrypted message will be get displayed here. Now I am getting the information from the session. That is the customer ID information. That is here the session ID for transmitting the file will be 22. And the customer name and the mail address everything all those information will be get displayed. And when I click on this process, the process has been completed. Now I am going to transmit this particular product to the customer. When I click on this transmit to customer form button, I got an intimation that is product is transmitted successfully. Now I am going to log in with the particular customer. I am giving the username as customer. And when I click on this login button, process is get valid. When I click on this purchase, I am getting into the information. Now I have to give the customer ID as 290. And when I click on this check button, you are not be valid. So give the proper customer ID. The proper customer ID will be 22. When I click on this check, the transmitter, both the customer ID and transmitter ID should be equal in our session. When I click on this extract button, the access will be permitted. Now I can view all my data. So I can view the decrypted message which is sent by the producer. Now I am exiting into my application. Next is our analysis. Here we are finding our series level. That is here we found the service level as much as higher. That is we reached up to the 500 range of the service. When I click on this exit button, now I am exiting from the application. This is about our project. Thank you.